If there are people buying that product, don't give a shit about fuck the competition. Jump into that. You might come up with new use cases, just like this guy.
Yeah.
Like there are 7 billion people in the world, and there are like maybe how many people know ChatNode? Let's say how many customers? How many people know ChatNode?
Well, maybe I can answer that actually. Many people will advise you to, oh, if you don't quit, if you're not full time with your business, you cannot succeed. I think it's bullshit.
Working 24/7, and he didn't give a solo fuck about happiness. But when he was dying, he was talking about you should be happy, you should talk about happy, you should like no, but you did not care about happiness. You talk about co-founders. One of the questions that came in my mind, you also told me about it. You had a little bit up and down with your co-founder. Would you like to talk about that? I mean, like, like what if you go like, I mean, you know, for the people who are like co-founders, what should they do, or what did you do actually? Let's talk about you. But like I've seen people very good at, very talented. They can get the job done. They get the shit done, but their core values are compromised. Hello. Today we have a very special guest on our podcast, The Doers. His name is Sacha D. He recently did one exit. And today we're going to learn from his experiences, like how he built his first SaaS and how he did an exit. Basically, he's not first-time founder, he's a second-time founder. But we're going to learn from his, like, what mistakes that he made in his first SaaS, when he was first-time founder, and what mistakes he avoided when he was founding another company, which is second company, which he exited right a week ago with good money, I guess. And we'll learn all the experiences and how he sold from building part till the selling part. We'll like have a lot of learning. So stay with us. It's going to be a really interesting podcast. So shifting to the Sacha domain. Sacha, can you please introduce yourself, like your background and everything?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, so I'm Sacha D. I'm currently still like the CTO at node.ai, which is the AI chatbot builder that I guess we're going to talk about. And basically my background is been 7 to 10 years in like data engineering, data science, and a bit of entrepreneurship, especially recently. So excited to start to talk about ChatNode, and yeah, so.
Well, like your first company that you found, how long ago? 7 years ago?
Yeah, roughly. So yeah, 7 years ago, basically I was in Seoul, and I don't know if I should talk about it, but like I met this angel investor. I was just finishing my study, and she told me like, "Do you have money?" I said like, "No, I don't have any money. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Do you want to create a business?" I said, "Yes, I want. I have this idea, which was like, protection for flight ticket, like on the website, like." If you're not sure you want to book it, but you want to freeze the price for 24 hours. That was my brilliant idea at the time.
Wow, that's a good idea.
Yeah, now actually you can see it on a few websites.
Yeah.
But at the time I saw I'm gonna build a product because I like science, data science, and I'm gonna sell it for big money to big user airline company. And what ended up is I spent roughly $100K across 1 year and didn't have any single clients.
No users.
No users.
After building for 1 year.
Yeah, so that was the start of my journey, let's say.
And how did you meet your first investor? Like, where did you meet?
Well, it's like through connection, like a few years before that, I did like a kind of a fake internship where I helped a friend in San Francisco raise, 3 Indiegogo. It was a hardware product. So that's where really I fell in love with, the entrepreneurship mindset. And she's like Korean and American. So that's how I got to meet her. And she's just helping young entrepreneurs. She wanted to invest in me. Like when she said, let's do it, I didn't have anything yet apart an idea.
I see. Okay. So like it was basically based from the network. And well, did you invest time like in convincing her? Because it's really interesting thing. She invested $100K in this Fugazi. Like there is no company, there is nothing. It's like, Do you need money? Yeah, I need money. Like that's a very lucky case, right? We don't get to see a lot of cases like that.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't put 100K right away, but she, across a year, she kind of re-injected money a few times.
I see.
But I think she just invested in me, like in a person, and she wanted to help, like generally help. But the setup was not correct. Like as soon as I would not recommend, like it was a big mistake because actually when she put that money, already the company was not mine. I gave her like more ownership than I had. There was two investors, her and her friend, and so I was already minority owner of my own business when I didn't even write any single line of code, which is a stupid idea. It was one of my major mistakes, but I thought like, oh, they know better than me because they are more experienced, they have money, and they give me my chance. So I'm fine if my first business I don't own much, but it was not a right setup, I would say.
But like you learn a lot of things, right?
Yeah, I learned that you should never build 1 year product and have no client. As a first time founder, that you should focus on creating revenue. It should be quick, and don't dilute yourself just for money. Because she put at first like 30K. At that time, for me, 30K was like crazy. I was intern. I was making like $1,000 a month to just survive.
Yeah.
And I was actually living in a kind of co-living place.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, oh, it's crazy. I'm gonna be able to even hire some people to help me. But if you look long term, 30K is nothing, and it's better to do it your own way and full ownership. I think it's better, at least at first. Because also, it doesn't make sense to raise money if you have nothing yet. Like you're gonna get diluted so much. Like you should raise money when you need it and in your condition, if ever.
I see. I mean, don't dilute too much. But like when you're first time founder, I think it's controversial. It matters and not matters.
I think now with every tool we have online, AI, website builder and stuff, like you don't need money to start a business.
Right.
So try it. Like, how can you be convinced that you can make a business successful with raising money if you're not able to at least make one without money? That, especially now, like basically with $1,000, you have no reason to not be able to make a business. $1,000, like to buy domain names, a website builder, a few stuff. That's all you need. If you're not capable to generate money with that, you think if I give you 100,000, you're gonna know how to spend it? Like that was stupid. They gave me money. I didn't know how to spend it well. It's easy to spend it, but you need to spend like 30K and get more than that, right? Spending, everyone know, but spending well is very hard.
They spend on me to learn how to spend money. So
yeah.
They invested in me to learn how can I utilize that money in a good way. So
yeah, that's what happened, I guess. But
I mean, like, imagine you're like just graduated and you got like $30,000 in your bank account, and like you're like, let's go to some talk with some bitches. So,
for me, I felt like, oh yeah, with that I can hire people. I can, for a year I can pay myself. It's like it was a good opportunity. I'm grateful, but it would, of course, if I knew what I knew, I would not do it again. It doesn't make sense.
I see.
I would not advise someone in my situation at that time to do it. I would say, especially now. Maybe 10 years ago, but now you have everything online. You can do everything. It's easy.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so that was it's a story from the background, like how he raised his first 100K investment and how he burned all of it without having single client. And the big takeaway is that don't invest a lot of time in you spent 1 year in building a product which nobody wanted a product. So maybe people want it, but
yeah, actually the funny thing is I just built it for 1 year, and the only time I did kind of marketing or sales, I didn't marketing business, there was no marketing. It was trying to meet with big airline or like big company to try to sell the technology. But first, if you try to do that, it would take months and months to convince them. And I was a nobody who was like, it was silly. So don't do that.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, that's it's just like when you're a first-time founder, you're obliged to fail. And in case you don't have a huge network of founders around you, I guess, and or like investors around you, or who are really good at building products, if they are not your advisor, then you're obliged to fail. And then you get you have a high rate of success in your second product.
Yeah, and also you have to be careful about, because you talk about advisor around you or whatever. Like, I thought they are entrepreneur because they are investor, right? But you have to be very careful of the investor because they don't know what you're building. You have to, if you think your investor or your advisor will help, it's because he's doing a similar product or very like deep in the industry, and like he has strong knowledge. Otherwise, it's not gonna help you at all. It's gonna likely not like opposite, make you do more mistake because he thinks he knows because he has more experience as an investor, but not as an entrepreneur.
Not as a builder.
Yeah.
Yeah, investors are investor. They're good at investing, not in building.
Yeah, not even investing. I think they just have enough money to try 1,000 people and then make the number work out. But my point is they are not good at picking the winner. They're just spreading their risk across a lot of founders, and one of them just by a bit luck, will make 10 times whatever the rest fail. Kind of.
Got it. So that's so if you're turning, be careful in picking up your investor in case you need to pick up. Otherwise, just go with scratch. Go with the self-funding.
Yeah, like bootstrap. You don't need an investor honestly today.
Okay, so you told me about you launched your product on AppSumo, and you raised I think more than $200,000.
Well, no, we raised roughly half of that, but it means that AppSumo made also a lot of money.
so that technically it was when you launch on AppSumo, you told me they keep okay, maybe you can tell yourself the story of AppSumo.
Yeah, so we launched it and we got a lot of clients. They keep as I say, between 30 to 70%. You can negotiate that. But the good thing is what they tell you, and actually we notice it's quite true. Actually, right now, a year after, roughly, only 20 to 30% of the buyer use the product. Because what they do is actually they buy a bunch of competitor on AppSumo, and they are betting that one of them would fit their need in 1 year or 2 years or whatever. So the usage is quite low. So now actually for them, we are only paying $20 or $30 a month on GPT, which is very low, right? With that much money, you could sustain them forever. So it's, if you do it well, it's very good. Just remember that you have a condition that only for 1 year you cannot launch another lifetime deal with a competitor, and they pour a lot of marketing. So they do ads online. They have a huge newsletter. So every time you get a newsletter, you make a lot of money. And if you feel you need a lot of cash and or grow, also the good thing with AppSumo user is they know they're early. They know the product is not finished, so they really invest in you. Mm-hmm. And that's good. So actually, the first 2 months, they really give us a lot of good feedback. So it was very good for us to say, okay, where do we want to, go with the product? They give us a lot. They really are engaging more than, I would say, a regular customer. And yeah, the last thing also is, if your product, you can sell it, you feel for agency, AppSumo is the right place as well. Because I think a lot of AppSumo buyer are agency. So let's say I'm a website designer. I know that I'm going to have to build AI chatbot for many of my customers, right? Mm-hmm. Right. But I want to save money on that. So I'm going to go on AppSumo, check AI chatbot builder, buy 3 or 4 of them, and I'm sure I'm going to be fine, basically. So that's what they do. So if you can target agency, it's a good place to be.
Interesting. So basically, as you mentioned in the beginning, because AppSumo is a platform where you sell lifetime deals.
Yeah.
And you cannot sell monthly base.
Not on AppSumo, no.
And for the monthly base, you go to the product time.
Yeah. I mean, Product Hunt is just same. It's for marketing, but it redirects to your own website. So then you can, because on AppSumo they buy through AppSumo some code, and then they have a 2 months free refund policy on AppSumo, and then with that code they can just put those codes in our platform, and they have access to the lifetime deal. So that's how it works a bit different.
Interesting. So like your advice was, if you are just starting out, you should not go directly to the AppSumo. You should go to the Product Hunt.
It's better, I think. Yeah. Product Hunt. And another thing we did for marketing was, now there's a ton of AI directories, or tool. So you should just register to be on all of them, and you can find online there is 50 or 100 of them. They will bring a lot of traffic. You can pay some newsletter as well. If you start to get some cash, it's worth it to pay usually it's $100 or $200
for a month
to be listed on a website or AI directories, or to be on a newsletter for a month or something like that.
I see.
I think it's good when you get already some cash, but you don't have so much budget.
So just for the marketing inside. Okay, so just for the recap. So basically, Sacha, what we were talking about his ChatNode exit, because he recently did the exit of ChatNode. ChatNode is basically the app that lets websites.
Yeah, so ChatNode AI is really just an AI chatbot builder trained on your website, on your PDF, on any type of data.
And it integrates in your website.
Yes, or Slack. Yeah.
And it works like a customer service.
Yeah, the main 3 use cases are customer support. I think that's where or tech support. Also kind of lead generation, getting some email. So let's say you go to a website, you want some information about the website, you ask a question, and then you put your email, and so then now you get the information you want quickly, and also as the owner of the website, you get an email from the customer. So that's the main use case.
Interesting.
Actually, on use case, I can give you a very funny one, because I've seen a lot.
Go ahead.
I've seen a lot, and so as I say, customer support, lead generation, sales as well. You can make a flow in AI and get sales. So at the end of the sales funnel, you just redirect them to usually a Calendly. So you can have a sale call, but you already got information and pre-qualify your customer. Another interesting one is, let's say you're a podcaster, famous podcaster. You want to have a persona, you have a lot of followers. You can just train on your, a lot of text basically that represent your voice, and then you can just give access to this chatbot to people, so people can ask questions about what did Lex Fridman, talk about, AI on this topic, and then the chatbot will answer very quickly.
That's interesting. That was not the feature in the website, but it allows you to have this feature.
Yeah, because we started very generalist. I think now we are thinking to be more vertical, as I said, a few use cases and maybe focus on just 1 or 2. But I've seen a lot of
use cases.
Yeah. The one I love is a guy just train his AI, his chatbot on dinosaur. So you put a bunch of PDF, 1,000-page PDF, talk about T-Rex and whatever. And he changed the system prompt. I don't know if you're familiar with AI, but system prompt is kind of the guideline of the AI. And he tell him be funny, answer accurately, but be funny. So you go to his 1 page, website. You have an iframe with our chatbot, and you say, you can ask me any question about dinosaur. And you answer, you ask question, you answer funnily about that with emoji and stuff. And right below there is merch. The guy is making money on merch of dinosaur.
Holy cow! Wow.
But that's a funny one, right? So, and he was kind of famous.
That's really interesting. I mean, the people who are watching, they can drive a lot of use cases, and they can make the money like that. Dinosaur, or maybe angels, or maybe what do we call the beautiful girls on the seaside with no legs? Mermaids, I guess.
Mermaid.
So you can talk about mermaids, and for the girls, they can and then train a ChatNode, use ChatNode, train a bot on that, and then put merch of the Right.
There's a lot of use case, and I think we're still early. We're gonna see more use case, like funny one.
I see. And how many competitors do you think in this space are?
Many, I would say a lot.
In the chat node, not in the dinosaur.
yeah, dinosaur. I don't know if there is any.
That's a very unique thing.
In chat node, like AI chatbot builder was very. I was not the only one that found Chatbase and like starting copying like in somewhere like. So I would say there is more than 100 actually, but many of them I don't know them. A few of them are popular. Many of them will die. Let's be honest.
In the start of the podcast, the thing that there was like a controversial advice that some of the founders say something and some of the founders say something. So let's put a light on that. Like for instance, Peter Thiel, the very famous billionaire, one of the advice is like, there are two types of startups or two types of companies, perfectly two types. One is like perfectly competitive and the second is perfectly monopoly. Like you build a monopoly or like you build a complete unique thing. And he is more inclined towards monopoly thing than having a competition thing. But like you mentioned that having a competition does not mean you cannot make money. It means that there are people who are buying this thing. This is also said by Alex Hormozi. He's also very famous entrepreneur. Everybody knows him. And this is also the advice given by Alex Hormozi. And I think most of the entrepreneurs, the not really famous billionaires, but at least multi-millionaires, they say this thing that if there are people buying that product, don't give a shit about fuck the competition, jump into that. You might come up with new use cases just like this guy.
Yeah, and first, like having a monopoly is like, if you come from Stanford and you have the right network and you raise a bunch of money, yeah, maybe you can have that ambition. But as a nobody, I think it's a dream that they try to sell you, like, oh, if you don't make a giant company. And I was like that 7 years ago. I was thinking, that's why I didn't have any customer, because I thought like, oh, directly I'm gonna go big. No one done that. It doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means that you're really taking big, risk, and it's not for everyone, especially at the first time. Like, don't try, to be the best in the world in entrepreneurship when you just start, right?
Don't try to change the world.
Try small, And the one thing that we got a lot with ChatNode is because we have so much competition. Like people say, "Oh, you're not afraid of that," or even when we were selling, the market is so huge and it's growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many people know ChatNode or know Chatbase? And if they are not in the industry, they don't know it. Like no one, like they know maybe Intercom, and even then, like not everyone knows. Like you cannot imagine just the Indian market. It's like crazy. Like if you have a small team of 5-10 people, you can all be millionaire with a product that
it's just market for one market.
Yeah, and no one, most people don't know about your fucking product, but you're already a millionaire, right? So it's enough, I think.
Exactly. The world has 220, or I don't know how many, 220, let's say 220 countries. And I think hardly a million, like there are 7 billion people in the world, and there are like maybe, how many people know ChatNode, let's say? How many customers, how many people know ChatNode?
Well, maybe I can answer that actually, because roughly we have 25,000 unique visitors. Well, I don't know, I would say maybe...
Let's say a million.
I think it's less, maybe half of that. Half of it saw it, maybe.
But let's say if there are millions of customers for ChatNode, and Chatbase is the biggest competitor, as you mentioned, yeah. Chatbase. This is a different company, different product. They have, let's say, 3 million customers, which they might not have because they're B2B. B2B doesn't usually do...
Yeah, we don't actually, right now, to give you an idea, we have like 130 paying customers. It's already generating like roughly 10K a month.
Mm-hmm.
So it means you only need like 100 customers. You can think, to make it easy, 100 customers is almost 10K a month. So if you have 1,000 customers, you can potentially, if you sell like $100 a month, you can make 100K a month. Most entrepreneurs would be, it's already we can start talking about valuation and selling. Like if your business make 100K a month in revenue, just revenue, it's only 1,000 people paying. You're huge success already.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. I have like a couple of friends, and their businesses are like net worth is to $50 million, $100 million, just with like I don't know how many paying customers they have, but like they have a user base of 2 million people. It's not small; it's quite big user base. But for generating money like $10,000, I think that's not something that you need a million customers.
Yeah, actually,
you just need.
To give a precise answer, we had roughly, I would say, between 10,000 or 15,000 sign up. So 15,000 people sign up.
And among them, 150 people bought.
More than that, but we have regularly around 150 monthly paying user, because we have also, let's say, 1,000 absolute user, and you have people that churn. So they buy for a few months and they leave.
And just for the audience idea, like churn rate is about you have the customer and then how long you can retain it. So it's like basically if the customer is like buying the subscription for 1 or 2 months and then he's leaving the product, he's not paying anymore, then the churn rate will go up. But if he's staying there, it will come down. So having low churn rate is good. So
yeah,
that's for the audience.
And to give also an idea for first-time founder, people always say, oh, if you look online, you will see like, oh, your churn should be, 2% or 3%. And yeah, of course they should be. But when I look at around, our churn was roughly 10%. And I think 5 is achievable. But if I look at competitor and they share those numbers, 10% in the AI space with a new product, when you just, you're not perfectly market fitting, it's okay. And it's very bad long term, because 10% churn, I think you're losing half of your customer in 1 year. So it's horrible. If you think let's say tomorrow I don't get any more customer, at the end of the year I would have lost potentially half. So it's good to improve that, but the standard, I would say, between 5 to 10% is when you start, it's okay.
I see. And in the start, it doesn't matter much, but in the longer run, you gotta focus on reducing churn rate.
Yeah, because you pay money to acquire them or whatever, and then they are leaving. That's why another key metric is LTV. So it's like long time value kind of or something. Yeah, long time value. So it's like how much your customer, for one new customer, how much is gonna bring you? Because in average for us, for example, $600, because they usually stay like, I don't know, 4 to 8 months, right? So it's not. So when let's say they pay $50 a month, you can actually pay more than that to acquire them, because they're gonna stay like 3-4 months. You know what I mean?
I got it. So like if you're putting a lot of money in marketing and the people are not staying, then it means technically if you're making as much as you're putting in the marketing, then the net output is 0.
Yeah. But you should basically, because it's a subscription-based model, you need to think long term. You need to think, okay, it cost me $200 to get this client, and he just paid 50, but he's gonna pay 50 for 6 months. So you have to be careful of your cash flow, but long term it might be worth it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when you start making money, there will be a lot of metrics that will be involved that I think people should study, the founder should study. But if you are having 0 customer, then don't worry about those metrics.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It's like once you get traction, once you get paying customer.
Yeah, once you start making some cash, then like, okay, let's study these metrics, because then you might go for raising investment. You didn't raise investment, right?
Nothing.
Bootstrap and.
I mean, we put $500 each or something. So it's like just to buy. The most expensive thing we bought was a domain name. It was like we bought 2. So the funny story is, at first it would not have been called chatnode.ai. It would have been called GPT chatbot.ai. But we saw a competitor where they had GPT in the name, and
he was getting on the top.
No, I mean, yeah, it was
in the search.
It was good, but he got is it called like cease and desist letter from OpenAI? Because OpenAI told him like, you cannot use our GPT name in your domain name. And so we got scared. And so after spending $300 on GPT chatbot.ai or .com, we bought another domain and we found like chatnode.ai that we liked.
Interesting. That's a good learning for me as well, because I might have thought about new product with GPT name in it. So
I mean, it's kind of, you can do it, but once, until you get famous, no one's gonna care. But it might be kind of pain to change your domain name after, because OpenAI tried to sue you. Kind of. I don't know if it's worth the headache.
Regarding the swing part, this is my favorite part. Like most of the founders, first-time founders, or any-time founder, when you're just starting out a business, I don't know about you, but they mostly talk about, oh, this legal is involved, I need to hire a lawyer, I need to hire this one, and the lawyer needs to take care of this thing, he needs to establish a business. My business is making fucking $0. And you're talking about paying the lawyer and paying legal fee and paying...
That's silly.
That's silly. Did you do that?
No, not this time.
We don't give a soul of fuck about lawyers when we are not making any money.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. I would say until you make your first dollar, don't even think about it. Don't waste any time on it. I was actually, I got like I don't know, I should not say that, but my sister wanted to try to make a business or whatever, and I heard she's like meeting a lawyer to make sure about the trademark or whatever, and I told her like, I don't think it's a good use of your time.
Oh my God,
because it's like
crazy.
No one cares. It's wasting time, resource, money potentially. So really don't do it until you make at least $1. Is that the bare minimum? What I would say though, on one of my experience and feedback is, if you're not all alone, let's say you have co-founder, you can wait as well, like you have, some dollar. But a good thing to do with your potential co-founder is and you can find it online, it's a YC, they have a template. It's just a one-pager, very simple. And they say, okay, this is how much share we have. And the process, so people know, I think it's very important actually for co-founders. Like normally when you start a startup, as I say, it's like 5 years, right? So you have vesting, you know what I mean? And you should stay, usually the standard is 4 years. And you get kind of ownership every month. So, and if you leave the first year, you don't get anything. So just sign a basic agreement with your co-founder. It's a one-pager, you don't need a lawyer. You have a template, you change a few stuff, and you sign. That's all. That's what I would advise. You don't care.
I mean, that's important because that's a money deal. With someone you're gonna spend your rest of the life. I think for me, my co-founder is my rest of the life. Whatever we do, I never do it. I'm never gonna do it alone. He will be with me for the rest of my life. He's my brother. We've been like building together for the last 10 years. And but like for the people, definitely he's gonna fly here very soon. And for the people, as Sacha mentioned, that the people who doesn't have like this close familiarity, like 10 years of relationship, they should have like these kind of. I mean, even if you have like, I think one pager is good. Like you should.
Yeah, it's good because, and also it's like it puts the right mindset.
How much I get, how much.
And it's like also if you leave, you will get nothing or little. So it incentivizes everyone have the same goal. Because if I don't work for that goal, then I'm gonna be not rewarded, right? So it's a healthy. It's kind of a prenup for a wedding, and I think actually it's important to ask the hard question first, even if it's not comfortable and it's not easy. But in the long term, it's healthier, and you might discover something. Like, let's say we start a business, and you tell me, okay, I will, and me, I'm like 100% on it, full time. And it's your side project. It has to be clear from the start. So it's conversation that helps you to have. And because it's a side project for the beginning or whatever, maybe it's fair that in this simple contract, you get less share than me. And so then everyone feel like it's fair and we can work well and not be surprised like a year after, like, well, I saw you're full-time on it, this kind of stuff.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only legal paper that matters. which is like a startup prenup, not the wedding prenup. Startup prenup, that's the only paper that matters. That's the only legal paper. Other than that, whatever people say, like, oh, you know what, you need a trademark, you need this, you need to talk with this lawyer and this lawyer, you need to see. You need to see if you're gonna get sued from OpenAI. Nobody gives a solo fuck about who you are. You're nobody. I'm nobody, and nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
And whoever gives this advice, I mean, I've seen this thing. They are making zero money. Those people who are giving these advices, like, oh, you know, you need to consult lawyer. Those are the people who are broke, who are flat broke. And the people who are making money, they're not talking about that. They're talking about execution. So, talking about execution, how fast were you during your execution? Like, how much is it important? I know it's super important, but let's talk about your experience.
Yeah. I mean, first thing is, at first you talk about ID is important, and actually I would say, ID are not important because ID already are here. You can find them.
Mm-hmm.
But execution, like, you cannot find it. Like, you have to do it. And so I think the thing that was great for Chatnode is we act fast. So as I told you, from the day we decided, we launched a month and a half after. So that was the main thing. Like, I was pushing my friend to do the front end. I was coding me the back end. I was like, let's do it. And I'm not a super organized guy. I'm trying to get better, but I don't think you need to be super organized. Just get shit done. Just think, okay, I need to have this product ready. Doesn't matter the way, it has to be done. Execution is all about get shit done. And there's tons of ways to do it. You can be more organized or not, but just be honest with yourself, think what works for you. A lot of developers like to work late at night. Some prefer in the morning. Yeah. So don't blame yourself. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. and like be super healthy and whatever.
Go for the cold plunge and doing like
it's not gonna make you money. People that talk about that, they are like already rich and they have time to do it. It's different stage, I think.
It's very interesting. One of the things that I have observed is like people who are giving these advices, they never followed those routes. They followed totally different pipelines, but since like who's gonna remember after like 5-10 years? Like, let's say now you're multi-millionaire or billionaire, and you're giving advices like which you did not follow at your like zero when you were on the zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some of the advices even from the Steve Jobs. I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs. Nothing bad about him, but some of the advices that he gave was totally contrary to what he actually did. He was like totally messy. He was like working 24/7, and he didn't give a solo fuck about happiness. But when he was dying, he was talking about you should be happy. You should talk about happy. You should no, but you did not care about happiness.
And I can see even me now, like slowly trying to care more about I should be happy. And I think it's a long-term journey, but it's not gonna make you rich, and it's not. I think where you should start, because you cannot force being happy or do this stuff. And
happiness is dollar.
Yeah, it's also like it's not because you make your cold plunge or whatever that. I think it's almost distraction at first.
Exactly.
And we talk about fear and whatever. I was honestly when I started, I was upset every day, but in a good way, like. When you have anger, but you're like, why it's not done? Why it's not done? It has to be done. How can I? And I was not trying to make excuses like, okay, how can we make it faster? How can we make shortcuts? Always think about shortcut at first. Especially when you don't know, it's not your sixth startup and you don't have the resource and the team in place or whatever. Don't hesitate. I'm seeing, I can talk about a company that we use actually at Chatnode. I really love them. It's called carbon.ai. They are just focusing, it's an API. Mm-hmm. They are just focusing on training LLM on any type of data.
I see.
And they just built an API. And they raised money actually after they got their first customer through Twitter. And the guy, when Chatnode got client to them eventually, he just reached out by email. And there's no login or like password or like Stripe checkout. He just focused, okay, I'm sending an API. He had a fucking landing page with a demo. You just call him and say, okay, this is a product. I send you the documentation. This is your API key. We will add you on Slack. Done. Try it, and we keep back and forth on Slack, making sure it's working. 2 weeks after, I become a customer. You don't need the
Slack. Scribe and
you don't need to think, I need to build everything from scratch and whatever. Just take shortcut. If you can, take shortcut. He was like, why do I need to make a sign up? I can just, send an API key through, through Slack or through email, and that's enough. And he had a product, and he raised 1.3 million with that. Because already people pay for it anyway. If they need it, they will pay for it.
He did not do cold plunge.
Yeah, don't care about that at all.
Be super messy. Yeah, I mean, that's also the advice from YC as well. But these are wonderful advices, Sacha. Again, just for the reminder, he's the guy who built from scratch. He destroyed his first startup, again went towards building another startup. So we're not super multi-millionaire or not. I'm not even millionaire. I don't know about Sacha, but yeah. So
not yet.
So these advices are for actually those people who want to make 10K a month or 15K a month or 5K a month, who just want to get out of their job and want to do their side hustle as a full time, so that they can focus on building something cool which can make them millionaire, just like we are hustling for that.
And actually, when I started chatting last year, it was still a side project. I still had my previous job at the time. I quit, I fully quit last year, but so you can do it you don't need to be a full-time, and especially now you're remote, you can, if you're a freelancer, it's flexible. And I see a lot of people still keep their 9-to-5 job. And I would likely say, if you have one and you're okay with it, you don't need to quit your full-time job to start it. Many people will advise you to, if you don't quit, if you're not full-time with your business, you cannot succeed. I think it's bullshit. It's possible. It doesn't mean it's best for everyone, but I see many people that put themselves at risk and more stress. It's already stressful to have a startup, right? When you don't, you need it's easier to have a stable environment. If you have a good friend, I have a wonderful wife, and it make me more appeased, calm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was working hard because I had 2 jobs basically.
Yeah.
But you can do that. I think it's a great way to start. And once you reach, a few K more a month, and you feel oh, you know what, I want to spend more time on it, I like it, then maybe they quit.
I see. So your advice is have a side job.
I mean, if you're a student, then maybe it's a good time to try. Maybe you don't need a job or whatever. But if you already are an employee, then you don't need to quit before your business
is making money.
Yeah, I think
Perfect.
Why not? And now it's fine. You can do both, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
for a short period of time.
We have 24 hours. We don't need to sleep 8 fucking hours to be alive. Even reach.
Sleep, right?
I don't even sleep. So, but yeah. So we can do 8 hours job, 4 hours side hustle, and that's enough.
I remember before, even when I was going from employee to freelancer, I was doing my 9-to-5 job, and during lunchtime, instead of going with others, I was going alone, eating my salad, opening my laptop, and working on my freelance job.
Wow, that's good.
And I was coming at night and working on my freelance job, don't make excuses. You can do it.
That's amazing. That's the hustling mindset. I think it's all about mindset. If that is in order, then money making part, it takes a lot of time for me. It's still taking a lot of time, but I have a belief that eventually it will come. Yeah. As long as I'm alive, I'm hustling, it is going to come, definitely. So interesting. Yeah. You talk about co-founders. One of the questions that came in my mind, you also told me about it. You had a little bit up and down with your co-founder. Would you like to talk about that? What if you go for the people who are indie developers or co-founders, what should they do, or what did you do actually? Let's talk about you.
Well, I think the lesson I learned is more people have different style of running a business or different lifestyle. And if you're like if you need to be in line with a few strong value. Like for example, if your value of money is different, I think it's gonna be a problem long term. Like if you're someone frivolous, spending all your money, and you like that, and you live, it's your lifestyle, yeah? Nothing wrong with that. Everyone do whatever they want. But if you're trying to be a co-founder with someone that save every penny and like don't scared to spend money, whatever, like eventually it's gonna be a problem. So it's good to know that on a few key value, like money, maybe, lifestyle, kind of work, you're in line. I think that's the biggest advice and kind of mistake I did in some way. I didn't realize that we had different view on those points.
You should not compromise on your key values. Exactly.
Because it's not, you're not going to be able to, because it's your key value. So at one point, it's going to divorce, kind of. You're going to divorce. Like it's a wedding, You're spending more time with your co-founder than your wife. So
that's true.
So if you cannot compromise core value with your wife or your husband, then it should be at least the same for your co-founder.
Exactly. Like I totally agree. Like, and even if you compromise, you cannot compromise for a really long time. You're gonna suffer inside.
Yeah. So it's not gonna work.
Sometimes like it's like infatuation just like meeting a wife or dating a girl. It's just like infatuation with co-founder. The co-founder are smart, but like I've seen people very talented. They can get the job done. They get the shit done, but their core values are compromised. They don't have strong core values.
Yeah, and so be careful about that.
And some of the people are even not trustworthy. Like, when we were having a coffee, I was discussing with you, like, sometimes talent does matter, but trustworthiness also matter. Like if I'm going to give you a task, or you're going to give your employee a task, and you are expecting it to be done by tomorrow, let's say, it should be done. If it is not done, according to your estimate, it should be done by tomorrow. It's not that hard. And then your co-founder or not just co-founder, like employee or whatever, he says like, this was the issue, I got ill, I got this. It is compromisable for 1 time, 2 time, but if this is happening again, it means that he's not a trustworthy person. He's just using you or just wasting your time. And as an early stage person with no money or with very little money, I think that's really dangerous.
Yeah, and you want to set up yourself for success, both of you. So if you compromise your success or partially, and then it's not good, right? So you have to be careful, and the lesson is like, don't let it grow to a point where it's not good. Like notice that early, and like you can, especially when you start a business, you can always say, okay, it doesn't work out for me. Well, okay, can you buy me out, or can I buy you out? It's easy to do when there's not too much money involved. Once you reach a point where you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, then you're gonna have to bring lawyer and stuff, because people it's gonna show their real face. So you have to notice it early. If you did a mistake with it's fine, it happened. You cannot know 100% people before really doing a business with them. Then get out, or like find a way to end peacefully, kind of. That would be my advice.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important. Like and again, if from the very beginning the trustworthiness is there, friend relationship is there, everything is good, I think. That's like a very little part. Jumping to the execution, I think, is key to go. Jumping towards like apps, we have discussed AppSumo, we have discussed the launching platforms, and what else we need to discuss.
We can talk about selling.
Interesting. Tell me.
So I have a few insight on that. So we use acquire.com. I think they are fairly good. It was good to use a system like them because they have a nice platform. They bring you a lot of traffic as well. They have, it's like AppSumo, but for selling your business, selling SaaS business. They take a fee, but like AppSumo, people don't know, but everything is negotiable. but you can think it's between like 4 to 6%, maybe lower, depends.
So the total profit or revenue?
Yes, total selling price.
Uh-huh.
I think they would take between 4 to 6%.
I see.
I think it's negotiable, but that's kind of the standard, you can think. But they really bring you the potential buyer. It's good because they sign NDA, so they help you with all the process to make it as safe as possible. So sign an NDA, you can see easily if those buyers have fund. So you don't have a buyer that have no money and you're like still talking to him and he's trying to just get information and he's never gonna buy your business. So they do some kind of due diligence on your side. They are you can reach out to them very easily. But so that's about the platform. The process is more complicated than you think. So usually what happens is you get the first buyer coming to you. After they sign the idea, you talk to them, they ask a few questions. Then you set up 1 or 2 meetings. Usually it's like 1 meeting for maybe technical part, 1 meeting for more marketing side. But mainly it's like your number. So, we talk about churn, your MRR, monthly recurring revenue. That's the main one. What are your expenses? So you need to show like, let's say the last 6 months or year of like, okay, I spent that much, I earned that much. So they see a clear trend and, it's transparency, right? So the good thing with Acquire is you can connect your Google Analytics directly. You can connect, I think, Stripe or chat module directly in Acquire. So they are kind of read-only on your metric. So it's kind of very convenient. You know what I mean? Like on chat module, it's like Stripe, you can see your MRR growth, every kind of metric, and they can have access to that.
So okay, so the reason that you recommend acquire.com because
it's just the only one I used, but I would not have done it like without any support, right? By myself, one-on-one, and like choose a lawyer, or I would have been sketchy.
And it's a lot of waste of time, I guess.
Yeah, and especially for your first time.
Yeah.
You don't want to, nothing. Like it's good to have some kind of support with people that just do that all the time. So once you did those calls, then you need to sign LOI.
What is LOI?
So LOI is kind of a letter. It's like a letter of intention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just they sign a paper saying, okay, I want to buy your business for $1 million.
I see.
So you're happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you receive that, it's good. Honestly, the feeling is great. But it's very tricky, at least on acquire.com, because LOI are exclusive. Meaning, when they send it to you, you can receive many LOI, so potential buyer.
I see.
But once you sign it, you cannot talk to any other potential buyer. They are blocked, and legally, even you cannot really engage with them.
Is there any time period or like?
I think the LOI kind of cancel out after 60 days. Maybe you can negotiate that, but usually, so you have to be careful. In that process, you need to really ask a few questions to the buyer, like, okay, how fast you want to close? How long is going to be your due diligence, where they check your code, maybe check your metric more and stuff. Do you have the phone ready? Can you wire it? What's the timeline? Why do you want to buy it? Why is it better you than other buyer? And you need to kind of, when they are ready to send you LOI, it's time where the power balance change. Before LOI, you're kind of, oh, please buy me. Once you get one LOI, everyone knows about it. So they are all saying, oh, someone want to buy it, like I want to buy it as well. So it's a good time to actually also make the buyer compete. Because once we got the first LOI, suddenly other people say, oh, okay, how much was the price? Like, can I pay a bit more? Like, can I get it? So just use that in your advantage, but be quick. Because once you get the LOI, everything should be quick. So once you're sure that this guy is the best buyer, and you do your best to really check it, you sign it, then you kind of lock with him. And second step is so he's gonna do due diligence, and you can give him more access slowly, only read only. Then you sign the APA, APA. It's just a contract, so it's more detailed contract. Once you sign that, it's not done. Then you need to have the escrow. So there's acquire and then acquire partner with the escrow that keeps the money. So you make other contract with them and you say, okay, this guy will send this money here, and then we will distribute in one or two accounts. If there is co-founder or something like that.
I see.
And the escrow is really the one that's gonna hold the money until during the transition period.
I see.
So you sign the contract. Once you're signed and they're happy, then you wait that they send money to the escrow. Once the money is in escrow, then you're good. Because once the money is in escrow, it's very hard for them to back out. You need to have lied about something, or there's no reason for them to, or you didn't give them the business, right? The asset.
Exactly, the asset is not there. Exactly. Beautiful. And you also told me one thing, that when you sign LOI, you cannot even sell outside the acquire.com. So like maybe you start getting offers outside LinkedIn or Twitter, let's say.
So actually, yeah, when you start with acquire.com, you should tell them a list if you have already some potential buyer, and they can give you very strongly, like a lower fee, again, like 2% maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they help you with the lawyer and the escrow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, once you sign that contract with them at the beginning, if you get a buyer like from LinkedIn, I got like few offers from LinkedIn or whatever, they have to go through acquire. Otherwise, it's not legal. You cannot just sell it elsewhere basically during like the time you want to acquire.
Basically, you just have to like get them, oh, hey, you know what, you like the business, get on the acquire.com and buy from there. So it's, you may lose some money, but it's good, like you're safe. You're not playing very risky game. Nice. And how important is the Twitter? Let's say the X, which is X, like known as Twitter. How important is that for the founders?
So I think it's funny. But wait, before, if you don't mind, before we jump into that, let me just finish on the selling.
Oh yeah, sure.
One thing is, so then you transfer the assets and then they dispatch the money. But one thing that people ask me a lot is like, how do you value your company? Like,
oh, good question.
Because, and I would say there is few steps, but first question you should ask is how quickly you want to sell. For example, for me, I wanted to go quick because, I wanted to get out of the business and I wanted to do it before the summer because I knew the summer number will go down or be stable.
The churn rate will be high.
So you need to be mindful, like you want to show good number during the selling process. And so the way to price your business, usually I would say, is the simple rule is like 2 or 3 times your ARR, annual recurring revenue. So let's say your business makes 10K a month, it means 120K a year. So you can think you can fairly easily sell it for 250 to 350.
So like
1,000.
Multiply it with 2 years.
2 or 3, yeah. Depending on, like 2 is a safe bet, and then it depends on your churn and how much competition you have, how trendy you are. But it's a very safe bet.
I guess some people sell for like 4 years as well. But like, again, as you mentioned, it depends upon the metrics.
Yeah. But a good rule to start is that 2 or 3 times your ARR, and you will be in the sweet spot that you can sell normally.
Yeah, and it also, like, if you have done multiple exit before, then I think you can sell for like bigger bets, like four times, because then they know, okay, this guy is not lying.
Yeah, and also it depends on your margin, actually. Like, if you make 10K a month, but you are spending like 8K for maintaining your product, you're only making like...
2,000. No.
Yeah, so,
Got it.
It's stuff like that. But yeah, so for a question about Twitter, so to be fair, I didn't start it when I started ChatNode. So I didn't, I'm kind of new to this kind of marketing. I was more like a geek, just behind my desk, in trading, but I saw a few friends like doing it successfully. And I was like, okay, once I quit my job, I'm going to try to be more online. And I was impressed that after I started to post, daily, But I think it's a long-term game. Like it's not gonna be you can see result in 1 month, but it's likely not gonna be dollar result. You're not gonna make money after 1 month.
Exactly.
But after a few months sharing just, how I was selling ChatNode and other, tech stuff on everything.
Kind of built in public thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's cool. You meet a lot of interesting people. So I like it. I recommend it strongly for everyone long term. And it's also, as a developer, there's this, the tips I could tell you is like, okay, let's say you think you're a developer, you're not a marketing guy, and because that's how I felt. Like, why should I do that? I feel scared. I don't want to look ridiculous or whatever. And also, like, what I'm gonna talk about.
Sure.
The thing is, if you just build everyday stuff, you have stuff to talk about. So, you can just talk about what you're doing every day. You're building, I made this new website, I send a newsletter, I pay $100 to get this newsletter to feature ChatNode. Did it work? Did it not work? You just share what you're doing. So content become easy. And you can just schedule it, you can grow your audience. And now actually traffic in ChatNode, a lot of traffic come from Twitter and LinkedIn. The only thing I would say though is like, it doesn't mean it's good traffic. So, don't think you're gonna get all your customers from there, because maybe they are not your target audience, or
it's, in a nutshell, it's important to have it, but don't rely completely on it. One question I have, like you were using ChatGPT or like a GPT-4 APIs, but like you were using multiple models, and you were selling for 1 year, lifetime, on AppSumo. Like you already told about it, like you should be careful about it, but how can I be careful? Like, isn't this so scary? Like, how, first of all, GPT-4 is expensive. And did you get any discount on that? Like, because...
Yeah, so actually I can say 2 things about it. One is, these days, if you're making any kind of AI business, I don't know if I recommend it, but you can get pretty easily into Microsoft startup program. We got in, and I think it's fairly easy if you did like a product hunt or like you have some traction.
I want to ask about the question about Microsoft program as well. Like you told me like they offer you GPT credits as well.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah, but we cannot use it. So okay, Microsoft startup. The good thing was like we got a lot of discount on Stripe. We got some OpenAI credit, like 2,500 basically dollar, and you get 25,000 credit on Azure. But
Sorry.
I don't like Azure, like it's very hard, like, so I'm not sure I would recommend it long term, but they do offer a lot of support. So, and yeah, what you were saying is actually you can use what they call, I think, OpenAI Studio in Azure. And so you can use your 25,000 credit to use GPT-4 or GPT-3. The problem was, I think because Azure is like, it's Microsoft, it's a big company. So they are very careful about, let's say they don't want the model to say something about, something that is not politically correct, or something on the even pornography or stuff like that.
Or something negative about Microsoft. Like you say, well, tell me about Microsoft. I say, bullshit.
Exactly. So actually their model is not OpenAI. They have OpenAI and they have like an extra layer for content moderation. But, OpenAI already has something, but there is super strong and it's on top of it. The problem with that is like, it makes the streaming horrible. It's like, instead of, OpenAI streaming is fluid, it looks natural, you can read it. In a chat scenario, it's good. And in chat, you don't want not streaming, because then you're gonna be, yeah, guys, if you make a chat, make it streaming for sure, because if it's not streaming, it's extremely slow, because you need to wait. It's not gonna be faster to wait that OpenAI gives you the entire block at once. It's gonna be relatively the same, but
people don't like it.
Yeah, user is gonna wait like an extra 10 seconds from this.
Get the whole chunk.
So with Azure, every small chunk, they filter it through the content. So it's like you get chunk at once, big chunk. It's not streaming well at all. And to bypass that, you need to be a managed account. So it's very hard. I could not get it. So unfortunately, you can it's good to use for stuff that are not chat related. So if you want to, study a document or pass some data through, you can still use those credit. But
you also told me like they add extra layer of security that also makes streaming slow, and also they send big chunk in one go, which is also a negative sign.
No, it's
red flag.
That's why we are paying OpenAI, because I cannot give that to our customer. Honestly, it's too bad.
And they don't like it. So like if the people who are building in the same space, they need to keep this in their mind, show something in real time.
Yeah.
And the security it causes additional latency, and also there was something that I'm missing, like you told me about.
No, but so I think the important thing for people that want to build something on AI is like, and you were telling me about the cost, right? AppSumo cost.
Yeah.
Is the funny thing is costs went down crazily, like since a year and a half. We started a year roughly. I think OpenAI itself decreased their price maybe 3 or 4 times from a year ago. So in just 1 year, GPT-3, GPT-4, all of their models were cut by half every time.
What was your first, when you started out, how much you were paying at that time in peak time, and how much you are paying now in peak time? What's the difference?
Well, it's very hard because when we started, we didn't have so much user.
But like in peak time?
Well, peak time we're almost $1,000 a month OpenAI, just on OpenAI.
$1,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now we are paying like less than half of that, like 400 something, I think, per month. And because there is, GPT-4o, which for now I still not encouraged to use because there's still some issue, but it's cheaper and faster. But it's not as good as GPT-4 Turbo.
Of course.
And I think GPT-3, we almost don't use it because GPT-4 is much better. It's like, we spend like $20 a month. So price went crazy down. Another thing that I was scared at first is, we train our AI chatbot on your data, and data is text. For a technical person, it's like we store it in vector database like Pinecone, and there's many of them. When AppSumo got in, we were paying at one point like almost $1,000 just to store the data in Pinecone, and I got scared. I was like, "Wow, this user, it's gonna cost me so much money."
But what's the reason?
Just pricing. You should think that this technology is so new that all this company at first it's like nothing was ready to scale to millions of users, right?
Yeah.
So it was very pricey, but very quickly, because there's so much, like Pinecone raised, like I think 6 or 7 months ago, or even more, like a year ago, like $120 million. So once you get $120 million, you can say, okay, how can we optimize that? And so I think 4 months ago, I went to this very annoying migration from old pod Pinecone to serverless Pinecone. And we went from like $1,000 a month to $50 a month for the same amount of data.
Wow.
So it decreased by 20 times. So you should think that, I think this trend is going to continue, maybe not as fast. It's not going to decrease like 50 years. It's not going to be nothing, but things, because there's so much money pouring into those giant companies that they're going to optimize it so much that it's going to be faster, cheaper. And so don't say, I remember a year ago, people were saying, oh, you're so stupid to start another AI startup because your margins are so low. But a year after, it's like, cost is very low. It's getting more like a normal SaaS.
I have one very interesting question. I would like to take your take on it. Wrapper versus core technology startup. Where does your startup lie, and what is your thoughts about it? Is it a purely wrapper, or it's a purely technology startup, or it's in the middle?
I think it's not at all a technology startup, because we just combine a few technology, right?
Improve it a bit.
Yeah, same for tech people, like we use RAG, retrieval augmentation, I think. So, it's like we use a few models. I'm using, in our pipeline, we're using RAG, we're using re-ranking, we're using, a lot of technology put together. but we didn't invent those technology, right?
Yeah.
So we just kind of patch them together in a pipeline, and that's fine. I think it's kind of what you're doing. Maybe you're more involved, but and I think to be like a pure technology startup now, I would disencourage everyone in our level to do that. Because the only big players that can do that now, you have to raise. It's not even raise $1 million. You have to raise $100 million and be like Pinecone, Mistral, Perplexity, Cohere. Like you need to. If you don't raise $100 million, you cannot do anything.
And also, one of my friends has a great thing that when you invent something new, people are not habitual of using it, so they have to like adapt something new, which is breaking habits is a big red flag, and adapting something new is also very painful. So that's why I think having a big budget to survive without having any money is good when you invent something new, because there are some parts in my startup that I had to build from zero. Like one of the model that I can like file patent on that. It was like really unique. I took a really unique approach just to reduce the latency, but nobody paid for it. Nobody paid for it. I was like,
why do you care?
People are like, oh, fuck yourself. It's like, does it matter? No. Does people know about it? No. So I think since I made it, it's a stupid approach. I was stupid and I'm still stupid. People should not do that.
Yeah, and so I think the way if you're just a wrapper of AI, eventually I think you're gonna die.
But like you can do quick exit.
Yeah, but my point is, I think, for example, even now to make ChatNode, I think, super successful, the way to approach it is like to really think not about AI, but think about, okay, I'm gonna solve the customer support problem.
I see.
And use AI the best way possible for that. And I think that's the approach that you can make a lot of money and you can stay long term, and you're not gonna be out-compete by OpenAI itself, because I'm not trying to solve customer support, right? This is not their target. They are trying to make the best AI model, right?
Wow, that's a very interesting view.
So as long as you use AI you wrap AI in some way, but you need to be kind of niche in your industry and solve like an industry problem. If you do that, then I think long term you're fine. Technology stuff, just don't do it unless you can raise a ton of money.
I mean, that's really amazing view. I never had this view, but since I met you, like viewing this problem from this perspective, that I'm gonna solve the problem regardless of whether it is wrapper or it is a pure technology. It should solve some problem.
Yeah, exactly. And if you need the technology, maybe then at that point, as you said, like you can build it, but it should be more like a problem industry
or problem oriented ways. Yeah, that's really interesting view. Beautiful. And what's next? Last question. What's next?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how much I want to say, but since we are in bird in public, now I want to. So in ChatNode, I did a lot of web scraping, because you need to scrap your website to train on it. So scrape, like, let's say, a lot of content, blog, article, and I tried many solutions. I really put in production like at least two. Like at first I did it myself because I didn't know any solution. Then I used third-party provider, and now we are still using two third-party providers, and they are still not satisfied. So I'm building a web scraper, but specifically my niche solution is gonna be for your web app, meaning behind your login password. Because the problem with a lot of scrapper is like it's not easy for AI, you want to train it on your entire website. But most web app, you need to pass your login and password, right, to access. It's not public. And to do that, there's no really easy solution. So I like it. It's kind of API only. I'm just gonna provide an API, and people hopefully can scrap their web app behind their password protected site and either train it for AI or just use this information for something else. So we'll see.
I mean, I can scrap my own website, or you mean talking about the other websites that have a password login on?
Yeah, any website that you have at least a login password on. So for example, to give you a concrete example, on ChatNode website, you have we have our own bot, right, to answer tech support questions. And let's say inside the web app, we have a page, for example, where there is a system prompt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people, let's say they go to the chat and say, okay, how can I change my system prompt? If you just put the URL, you cannot scrap this page because it's a dashboard when you need to be logged in.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's kind of custom. It's not easy.
That's not part of the website. That's an admin panel.
Yeah, it's like it's behind. You need to be logged in to see those pages, right?
Yeah.
But if we could scrape that, then automatically the AI could be trained on that data
I see.
and say like, oh, go to your dashboard /setting system prompt. This is the link. It's gonna work, So that's the main problem I want to solve, and I'm not 100% sure. The only thing that validates me, and that's why I'm gonna do it, is I talked to two business, basically many of my customers in ChatNode wanted that. They say like,
I see.
how can I train, like I have this account there, I want to train my chatbot on my content, but it's behind my passwords, and I didn't have an easy solution for them. And I talked to two other competitor or indirect competitor, but they use the train AI, and both of them told me that their customer asked for that as well. So
There is a need.
So I feel there is a need. And I like, because as a backend guy, I can just provide an API, and I think I can solve it. I did some prototype, so that's my next stuff.
Amazing. I wish you the best of luck in this product. It sounds very interesting and very amazing.
And if it doesn't make money in 2 months, I'll move on.
Move on. That's the hustle of life. That's what go fast, execute fast, ship it.
Don't get stuck on. Don't love your idea.
Don't love your idea. Don't fall in love with your idea.
Exactly.
Perfectly said. Yeah. And with that, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for amazing feedbacks. That was a lot of learning. Like we discussed about AppSumo, we discussed about product and how to launch, how to start your when you are first time founder, what are the mistakes that you need to avoid? We purely talk about technology products, like the people who are indie devs, and it was a lot of learning for me, especially. I don't know about others, but yeah. If there are some things that you didn't understand, you can drop the question in the comment box, and
please.
Yeah, we'll love to answer, and I will attach Sacha LinkedIn and X account in the comments description as well. And if you have questions, you can reach out to him directly. Thank you so much again, Sacha, for coming and giving me a lovely time. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.